Hello, movie lovers. Bob for Bob's Movie Review here, and today I'm bringing you guys my July 2019 Blu-ray and DVD collection update. Be sure to click subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload great new content. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to show it some love and give it a like rating. So big month in July. I'm not sure that I've calculated whether or not August is going to be bigger. If you guys missed my preview video, be sure to check that out where I just talk about the new releases coming in August. I think I got about 30 titles or so sent to me for review in July. So it's a very busy month. Like I say, August is probably going to be just as busy or busier. So I'd love to hear what movies you guys picked up or what you thought of any of the movies I talk about today. Like I said, it was a lot of titles, so I'm going to try to remember what these movies are about as best I can. If I get a lot of titles like this, it is hard for me to remember at the end of the month what a lot of them were like or what I thought of them. Most of these I did review in my weekly shopping guides, so if you guys want to check out those reviews, just check out my weekly shopping guides. I'm not sure if I did any separate reviews this month, so let's get into it. First stack here is all sent to me by Mill Creek Entertainment. This one is The Stranger Beside Me, and this was a movie about Ted Bundy, and it's based on a true story about this serial killer. And I don't know if they've ever really determined exactly how many people he killed, because they kind of suspected he killed more, and he wasn't really forthcoming with the information. And this woman, she was helping the police or whatever it was. I think it was the police with this investigation, and she was friends with Ted Bundy. So even though she was investigating him and all the evidence pointed to him, she just didn't believe it was him. And so that's kind of why the title, The Stranger Beside Me. This is definitely a TV movie vibe to this one, but I did really enjoy it. Good acting, good story. Before watching this, I didn't really know much about Ted Bundy, so that was a cool one. Check that one out. Next up is IMAX Space Station. This was about the International Space Station and mostly focused on the kind of the creation of it, sending the different parts up there, putting them together. I thought it was really cool. Definitely enjoyed this one. I think it was pretty short. I think it was less than an hour on that one. But if you guys are into space, check that one out. It's pretty cool. All right, next up, I got both Picasso Trigger and Savage Beach, two more in the Andy Sidaris library. And these movies are hard to remember the exact plot because they're very generic. Just a lot of men and women who are really good shape, showing off a lot of skin, killing people. There's like this group of, I don't know, there's some sort of anti-drug people, and then there's drug dealers. They're both okay, there's a very similar kind of plot to these movies. Mothra Steelbook. It's definitely a cool steelbook. Definitely like this thing. I may have posted an unboxing of this. I can't remember, to be honest. The movie was all right. It's definitely, I think it looked better than I thought it would. It's okay movie. Lonesome Dove Steelbook. There's another cool steelbook and a really cool mini series on that one. Check that one out if you haven't already. It's a Western, has a great cast. NASA, A Journey Through Space. I just kind of watched this a couple days ago. This is a really comprehensive look at the space program. It's broken into 7 parts, and it's a little over 5 hours. Just basically all the history of space exploration. Really good if you guys are into space. Check that one out. Mill Creek's been putting out a lot of great space stuff. Then the last Mill Creek title was Run. This one had Stephen Baldwin, and it had a real after-school special feel to it about human trafficking and sex trafficking, and kind of like selling women into sex slavery. It's definitely an interesting movie. I definitely enjoyed the plot and the characters. The acting was below par, and the whole movie just had an overall really cheap feel to it. But I still think this movie is pretty good. Definitely check that one out. It's probably pretty cheap anyways. All right, so next stack is from Warner Brothers. I got Critters Attack. This is the new sequel to the Critters movie, and I assume it takes place after the first three. Like, it's just kind of like a direct sequel. Or was there four? I don't know. I've never seen the old ones. So, to me, this movie, I thought it was cool in that they used real practical effects with puppets and such. Although it became painfully obvious they were puppets, just in that they were always kind of off the screen a little bit. You rarely saw them like full on. But the story to me was kind of generic, and the characters were kind of generic, and it did definitely have like an 80s creature vibe to it. So I think it was all right. If you guys are like into the critters, probably worth checking out. If you guys are just looking for a horror movie, I don't know that that's it. Next up was Shazam. Love this movie, guys. I did a review of this when it was in theaters. I reviewed it when it came out. I posted an unboxing of this. I love this movie. I'm sure it'll get a sequel. I'm looking forward to that. This kid basically, he's like an orphan, and he ends up getting these magic powers, and he becomes a superhero, Shazam, and he's kind of got to go on this life's journey. And it's a good movie, a feel-good movie, a lot of action, a lot of fun. It was a really cool movie. Next up is Teen Titans, the complete first season, and this is the show from the DC universe. I think this is 11 episodes, 11 edgy, action-packed episodes. So I had a couple issues with this. It's Dick Grayson here as the Robin. I always say the Robin, but I guess it's just Robin. I don't know. But Dick Grayson here as Robin, and like, he's Dick Grayson most of the time. Like, when he's Robin, he's really cool. When he's Dick Grayson, he's not. So I found that disappointing. I wish he was Robin more often. You got a group of heroes here that probably, most people haven't heard of. I had never heard of, but they all have powers, and Robin just has a suit. I don't know. So those are kind of the main things that disappoint me about this. Otherwise, I really like the story and the characters. And I forgot to, some of the effects were not great. Most of them were pretty good, but some of them were not great. But overall, guys, I really love this show, and definitely this is one worth checking out. Last thing from Warner Brothers was Gotham, the complete series on Blu-ray here. I haven't seen every season yet. I do have to watch a couple, but I did review season 5. Because it was the newest release. Now, season 5 to me was awesome. I love this show. I love the characters. I love the whole production of it. I love the makeup. I love everything they did with this show. Everything to me just feels perfect and right. And if you guys have never seen it, it's kind of the prequel to the Batman movies. And Bruce Wayne has not become Batman, until the very end. He's just kind of like a teenager, kind of in training, and all the supervillains, though, are in Gotham. And it's a really fun show. Definitely check that one out. All right, next stack here is from Lionsgate. These were all sent to me for review. Hellboy, this is the new one. Now, to me, this movie, I really enjoyed the kind of the story and the effects. And when I was watching this, I was like, I should like this movie more. It seems like such a cool movie. And I talked to some other people about it, and I think it's just the guy playing Hellboy, David Harbour. Like, I don't know, I just didn't care for the portrayal. To me, he looks more sad all the time, and I couldn't figure out, seemed like it should have been more exciting, I did like the movie overall. I just didn't find it to be great. The Doors, this is the Val Kilmer movie about the Doors and more specifically Jim Morrison and his life and death and music and all that. Yeah, I couldn't get into this one, guys. Not that it was badly made, but Jim Morrison just was like a hippie and doing drugs and saying all these really crazy things all the time. And a lot of times with these kind of rockumentary things, it's as much about the music as the movie, but I'm not super into the Doors. And they have a couple of songs I like, but other than that, I'd never even heard most of the songs in this. So I don't know, I just couldn't really get into this one myself. Next up is Rock, Paper, Scissors. Now this is a kind of a lower budget horror movie about this guy who was abused and he becomes, I don't know if he becomes a serial killer, or I don't know what's the point when you become a serial killer, I guess is the question. But he will basically kind of kidnap these women and then kill them. And I'm not sure if they ever say how many he killed. You know, it could have been a small number, I'm not sure. But then he goes to a psychiatric hospital and they supposedly fix him or whatever, you know, and he gets out. It was all right. You know, it was a low budget thing. But I thought the guy who played the main character was really good. Pretty decent movie overall. Next up is Fast Color. This was kind of like a post-apocalyptic type thing where there's no water. And this girl has these powers that she doesn't really know a lot about. And there's people looking for her because they think she can use these powers. And she's just kind of trying to be herself. And it was very interesting. I definitely enjoyed this one, guys. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, Mr. Dolph Lundgren himself stars in Dead Trigger. Now, this movie, guys, definitely, like, if you guys want a bad, good movie, check this one out. If you want a good movie, probably this one isn't your thing. But Dolph Lundgren, another post-apocalyptic movie where zombies have kind of taken over, and he's part of this, like, elite military group, and they have to recruit these kids to help him out. It's just so bad. Like, I couldn't help laughing through most of this movie. And then the ending, they just kind of give you the middle finger, and I'm just like, what the heck? Strange one. But if you guys want to laugh, check that one out. I definitely liked it. This one here, The Professor with Johnny Depp. I don't typically get into Johnny Depp movies that much. Like, he's not an actor that I really look forward to watching. But this one was actually pretty cool. He plays a professor, and he finds out he has cancer and he doesn't have long to live. And he kind of just goes off the deep end, and he wants to do all these things that he never did. And definitely he did a great job in this movie, but he kind of played like, I don't know, similar character to who you might imagine he would be, because he starts drinking and doing drugs and just kind of saying and doing whatever he wants. It was a sad movie though too. You know, I definitely recommend checking that one out. Last up from Lionsgate was, what was this? Escape Plan, The Extractors. It says here on the front, Sylvester Stallone, Curtis Jackson, and Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista maybe had 5 minutes on screen time. Curtis Jackson, I don't think was even a minute. And Stallone almost didn't even feel like the main character. It's about this guy trying to get revenge on him because Stallone killed his dad. I kind of feel like since I didn't see 2, I was missing something, because the kid's dad is probably one of the main characters in the second one. So I definitely missed something on that. I never even picked up the second one. But overall, I felt like this movie was kind of average. You know, nothing too exciting about it. That's a kind of a hit or miss on that one, I think. All right, next stack here is from Paramount Pictures. Just a few titles from Paramount. I can't remember off the top of my head. Was it the 25th anniversary? Let's see, 1989. So 30th anniversary of Major League. This is the Charlie Sheen baseball movie. They did make a sequel, which also had Charlie Sheen, and I didn't know, but they actually made a second sequel. I've never seen that one. But this one is where this woman who owns the Cleveland Indians, she wants to move into Miami, but she has to have a way out of her contract with Cleveland, and the way to do it is to have really low attendance. So she tries to create this like horrible team, but of course somehow they succeed, and the attendance is like sold out, so that's not going to work. To me, I was a little confused because this one is rated R, and they use the F word constantly. But other than that, I mean, it's a pretty family-friendly movie if it wasn't for all the swearing. I've always enjoyed this one, guys. Definitely a cool movie. Check that one out if you haven't already. They also sent over Broad City, the complete series. I had never heard of this show. It's a Comedy Central, 5 seasons, I think. I just reviewed season 5 because that one was the one that released this month. This was about these 2 women who live in New York, and they just kind of do crazy, stupid things all the time, and it's what it's about. Definitely had a good ending. I mean, the show overall was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't laugh very much. You know, the humor wasn't my style, but it was all right. And the last one from Paramount Pictures was Pet Sematary. This is the new remake. And you know, this movie, some people loved it, some people hated it. I loved it. It has a slightly variation of the story. It's not exactly the same. Some of the choices with the characters are different. Things that happen are slightly different. But overall, it's the same movie as the old, was it 80s or 90s? Can't even remember now. Pet Sematary. And I love this one, guys. Highly recommend it. I guess I should tell you what it's about at least. So if you guys have never seen it somehow, this guy and his wife and his kids, they kind of move out into the country, and their cat gets killed, and he doesn't want the kid to have to deal with it yet. So they decide to bury it in this pet cemetery, and it comes back to life. And then later, other people get killed and buried in the pet cemetery. All right, next stack here is from Well Go USA. And I'd like to say all three of these Well Go USA titles were pretty solid. If you guys aren't familiar with Well Go USA, they release Asian movies here in the US market. And yeah, they put out some good ones. First one up here is Fury. And this was a Vietnamese movie. It did have English dubbing. That's how I watched it. It was basically taken from a woman's standpoint. Her kid gets taken to be sold into, I don't know if it was like sex slavery, or I don't know if they really got into exactly what it was. Maybe they did, and I just don't remember. This one's pretty early in the month, and her mom has to like go all over the country looking for her and fighting everybody. Definitely a great movie. The woman in this movie was amazing. She was so good. The action was awesome. The story was great. This was a really good movie, guys. Definitely check this one out. Next one is The Swindlers, and this is one of those movies where nothing is really as it appears, and everybody's like double crossing and triple crossing, and there's all these behind the scenes things that you don't see, so there's no way to know what's really going on until they reveal it at the end. It's definitely a heist style movie, except for with a murder plot instead of stealing something. The guy wants to kill somebody. I definitely enjoyed this one, guys. It was a cool movie. It's Korean, and it doesn't have dubbing, but it does have subtitles, so you would have to read the subtitles to watch this one, but it was good. If you guys are into heist movies, this one's definitely up your alley. Next and last title from Well Go USA I got this month was The Island. Definitely a very interesting movie. This one was in Mandarin, did not have dubbing, so you will have to watch with subtitles. And it was about this company, and they're going on this team building retreat exercise thing, and it's like they go out on this bus boat into the ocean, and this giant tidal wave comes, and they kind of think the world has ended, and they wash up on this island, and they're kind of trying to survive on the island, and they create all these different like little groups, and they're kind of like at each other's throat all the time. And the one guy had won the lottery, and he wants to get back and claim his winnings before it's too late. And definitely a good movie. Loved really, I think everybody in this, really great characters, a really great story. At some points, the subtitles did go a little fast, and they were a little hard to read. But overall, guys, I thought this was a really cool movie. Highly recommend that one as well. Next stack here is from Wild Eye Releasing. First up was High Death, and this was a little strange. I was confused at first on this one because they didn't really explain it too well. These two women find this poster talking about some sort of haunted thing or scary thing. I can't remember what it was. And then they just jump into the story because it's like an anthology style movie. And then a little later they explain that they're given directions, and once they get to the next location, they'll get a video, and the video are the anthology stories. Overall, though, I found the anthology stories to be really low quality and really strange. This wasn't one I really enjoyed. And the last one from Wild Eye Releasing is Scrawl. This one's from 2015, and it has Daisy Ridley. I was watching this, and I was like, did I miss Daisy Ridley, or do I not know who Daisy Ridley is? What happened? She doesn't come in until a little bit later in the film, but once she comes into the film, she ends up being kind of one of the main characters in the last third or something like that. And so she's in it quite a bit. It's not like she's just got a short cameo. She just doesn't come in until it later. And there was a lot of things I didn't understand about this. I think they edited this thing really weird, made it a little confusing about this kid who kind of writes this comic book, and then it starts happening, which is kind of an interesting idea. I kind of feel like this movie would be a lot better if they had edited it differently, made it just more upfront instead of confusing you about every 5 seconds as to what was going on, because people start seeing things and you never know what's really happening. And yeah, it was an okay movie, but I just wish they had edited it a little differently. All right, this next stack are all just the single titles. First one here is from CBS Television. This is Criminal Minds Season 14. Now, I haven't really watched the first 13 seasons because I really don't ever watch these kinds of shows where they investigate murders and crimes, and they take the evidence and they analyze it and they figure out who these people are. I did like this one though. It was pretty cool, guys. If you guys are into these, I think it was right up there. So check that one out. Artsploitation Films sent over Blood Paradise. Now this was a Swedish and American movie, so I'm not sure if like in the beginning she's from the United States and she goes to Sweden maybe, but it's about this woman who's an author, and she, like, her last book or two or something just kind of bombed, and she's trying to kind of get back and write a good book, and her publicist wants her to go to this farm in Sweden, so she goes, and the people who live there are really weird, and lots of weird stuff happens, and there ends up being kind of some murders, and it was an interesting movie, but it's definitely very strange, very slow movie. I thought it was okay overall. From RLJE Films, they sent over Deadsight. Now this one was very interesting. It was about another zombie apocalypse, but this guy wakes up in the back of a ambulance, and his eyes are all bandaged, and he's pretty much blind through the whole movie trying to survive the zombie apocalypse. I thought he did a great job. He ends up meeting this woman cop who is pregnant and close to labor. So you got a pregnant woman and a blind guy trying to survive a zombie apocalypse together. I thought it was a great movie, guys. I really enjoyed it. Definitely check that one out. Next up is Body at Brighton Rock. This one is from Magnolia Pictures. And it's about this girl who is working at this kind of mountain forest park or whatever. And she has to go put up these signs on this trail, and she ends up finding a body, and she has to secure the location until people can come to investigate, but she's really not prepared for it, and she has to stay out all night, and a lot of crazy things happen, some real, some in her imagination. I thought this was a great kind of suspenseful thriller movie. I thought it was a really cool movie, guys. Definitely check that one out. And the last title sent to me for the month from 4 Digital Media was Robert Reborn. They recently sent me the first 4, so I was like, hey, how about 5? So they sent me 5, and I was really hopeful for this one, guys, that it would be better than the other 4, that they would really kind of just go above with this one. Something would be different, but it's just another generic low budget title where the title doesn't make any sense. Robert Reborn, I don't know why he was reborn. Like, between 4 and this one, he never died. Because this one takes place in the 50s, so it's just shortly after most of the events of 4. Toy maker has moved to Russia, and somebody's trying to get the book from him. The book was in 4, right? Yeah, the book that he stole from the Nazis. And it ends up being more about the people than the dolls. They're very underutilized. They don't do a whole lot. The effects in this are terrible. The story is kind of generic. The acting is kind of bad. It's just not a great movie. All right, so now for my purchases. First up, I did get the Target exclusive Hellboy Steelbook, and I did post a unboxing of this. Now, I'm trying not to buy so many Steelbooks of titles that I get sent to me for review, but this had such a cool look to it, I had to pick this one up. Cool steelbook, okay movie. I also picked up the Alita steelbook. Now, Fox did send me over a digital copy to review of this one, so I did review it. It's a great movie. I loved it, about this cyborg who is brought back to life in the future, and there's a lot more to her than meets the eye. Definitely kind of a cool movie. Loved it. Steelbook was all right. I did post an unboxing of that. For one of my few or only Prime Day deals, I got the Dark Knight Trilogy. I've unboxed this, but I haven't posted the video yet, so I don't really want to talk too much about it. You guys can watch that video when it goes up if you guys want to know my thoughts on that. So it was a good deal, though, for sure. I picked up Happy Death Day to You. I think Best Buy had it down to 15. It still had the slipcover, so I decided to pick it up. I'm guessing it's probably more like 10 or 8 on Black Friday, but then you take the chance of not getting the slipcover, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. To me, this movie was just, they changed up the formula, so it wasn't so much of a horror movie, and the things that happened were real similar to the first one. I don't know. I think there was mixed reactions to this one, but I didn't love it. It was okay, but I didn't love it. Maybe this was a Prime Day deal as well. Lost in Space, the complete first season on Blu-ray. I haven't posted my unboxing of this. I've seen one episode. The show looks pretty cool. I did pick up Ex Machina on 4K. Although this wasn't a movie that I think I loved as much as other people, I thought it was okay. Amazon had this down to like $6.50, I think, so I decided to pick it up. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Hell on Wheels, the complete second season. I got the first season, so I might as well get the second, right? Weird Science Arrow Video Steelbook. I did post an unboxing of this. I'm not positive if I have a review up of this. I kind of remember reviewing it, but I'm not sure I did. About these two guys who are kind of nerds and they get picked on a lot. And then they are like trying to make this woman on a computer and she comes to life somehow. That's okay. I like it. I don't love it. I picked up the UK Cars 3D. So now I have all the Cars films in 3D. It was pretty cheap. It only includes the 3D disc and no slipcover or anything, but I already have the regular version. So I was like, well, I'd rather get this one because it was like $8 than paying like $40 for the actual like US version. So, and then I picked up from Epic Pictures They're Inside. I did review this one. To me, it was a little slow, a little strange, about this woman who wins this contest to use this house to make a movie in, but she's not really getting along with the people she's making the movie with. And there's also these killers involved, and it's a little confusing. Definitely one I need to rewatch. It was an okay movie overall. If you guys are still here, let me know in the comment section below right now. Last stack I have here is my Dollar Tree finds. I did post a video. Unfortunately, I had some technical difficulties, so it wasn't as good as I hoped it would be. But here's just a look at the pickups that I got. First up on DVD, I got Trash Fire. One of the worst movies ever made, but I still had to get it on Blu-ray. I don't know if $1 is even cheap enough, but I decided to pick it up anyways. Joe Dirt 2. Horrible, horrible story. Oh, man. I don't even know if I could watch that again. The Phenom. Assassination. Drib. Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. Well, it's only $1 billion because there's John C. Reilly right there on the cover. Kung Fu Killer. Josie. Struck by Lightning. Mr. Hockey. And Knight of Cups. So that's my collection update. I don't know, what is that? 50, 60 movies? That's too much, right? But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating. If you haven't already, subscribe for more videos, check out suggested videos. Check out my website, BobsMovieReview.com. And I'll see you guys next time.